according to that clock.
Her phone. My phone says.
Oh, okay.
Might be suffering from the power outage. Did you have a power outage?
I didn't. When did you today?
No, on Tuesday morning.
I was teaching, so I don't know.
Well, it was very early. It was like 1 a.m. Because all my clocks were wrong.
Okay, we will go ahead and call this Landmarks Commission hearing to order. The date is February 18th, 2026. Time is 12:30 p.m. We'll begin with the roll call here to my left. Please state your name and also if there are any conflicts of interest.
Florence Hawkinson. No conflicts.
Susan Kruger Barber, no conflicts.
That's the Embry, no conflict.
Eric Carter, no conflicts.
David Ammett, no conflicts.
Wendy Allman, also no conflicts.
Great.
I pushed it.
Doesn't sense.
There you go. Oh, you pushed it off again.
Okay, Jesse Embry.
All right. Item number 1, Merrill Van Leuven, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, requests a Landmarks Certificate of Appropriateness for restoration of a historic home in the R1.6 one-family residential zone located at 690 West, 300 South in the Franklin neighborhood.
All right. This on? Okay. So here's the property that we're discussing today. It's the historic E.C. Henrichsen House. So this was the co-founder of the Provo pottery back in 1872. So I found this painting I thought I'd just show before we jump into the stuff that we're discussing. But so the house on the left is the home that we're discussing today, and then on the right hand side of the painting, that's the business that the owner had his pottery shop in. So that was kind of fun to find those. And then there's an image of it up there as well. And so here's the current. On the left is the current home, and then a historic photo. And so we'll kind of go over some of the details there as we go through this, or as you've looked through the staff report. Basically, the applicant is looking to do a restoration on the exterior. There's a lot of wood and things around windows and doors and porch and everything that they'd like to be able to repair and restore, and in some cases replace where needed. So the staff report kind of goes more into depth on all those images. Just put a few here in the slides in case we wanted to discuss any of those. So here's also currently the deck that we can see on the historic images is no longer there. They would like to, as part of this certificate of appropriateness request, that they're able to reconstruct a new deck in the same location. It's not going to be to the same scale. You know, the railing on the historic one probably wouldn't meet today's height codes standards that we have. But it would be other than that, and that, you know, it's not going to mimic the details of the old one because we don't have enough in-depth profiling, I don't think, of all that, but their plan would just be to place that so that it can still function and still access how it did historically. So I think that's all. I just kind of wanted to go over. If there's questions, I'd be happy to answer, or the applicant here is here as well, maybe to discuss more of the techniques and approach that they're taking or proposing to take on this restoration.
Just to clarify, the bottom of the porch would just be these wood posts.
Yeah, that's what they're proposing, just to, I think, let's jump back here to look at the. We can ask them, I guess, if they're planning to replace what's currently there, but those pillars aren't the ones that were there originally, as you can see in these two images. So I'm not sure if they're planning to replace these specific ones that aren't historic, or if they would keep those and add to it, so we can clarify that with the applicant.
Any other questions for Dustin?
Are there any other drawings of the porch? Any other documents showing what's intended?
It's- I think it might just be that image that we have, yeah, in the staff report, that rendering. They do have construction drawings of, how that would meet codes and stuff, but I didn't include all of that in here. Just the engineering behind the deck, but I don't have any other images of that.
So there are construction documents.
Yeah, I think they submitted a package, and we can ask the applicant more, in more depth on that. But yeah, if this were to get approved, they'd have to submit building permit application, and they would submit those for review to make sure the construction and engineering meet the building codes.
Would those be reviewed by us or only by the building department?
Those would be
Plan reviewer.
reviewed by the building department. So if there's specific things you were maybe hoping to be able to see in that, we could bring it back if that was necessary.
Okay, thank you. That answers my questions.
I had a question, and I'm not sure if this is for you, the applicant, but why do they want to put the banner, like that fence up there at the top? Or do they want to put it back?
The railing,
The railing, I mean, yeah.
balcony railing.
Yeah, so you can see on that left-handed image, or I guess on both, there's a door up there. So, historically it was, you were able to
Walk out.
walk out and be on top of that porch, kind of walk out balcony.
So it is for use, not just for,
looks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I understand beyond that, the wood would not, I mean, none of the wood window sills or anything would be touched.
So the wood window sills, they're proposing to fix and restore them.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them have severe damage from water and things like that over the years. So they are proposing to go in there and restore and fix those up.
Do you know if the windows are going to be replaced? We could also ask the applicant.
Yeah, I think in some instances they probably would be replacing, or I guess that might be a better question for the applicant. I think in some of the things that I reviewed, it talked about, different levels of repairs. So some of those windows, I think that were listed as needing heavy restoration or replacement. But yeah, we can verify those if the actual windows themselves are going to be replaced on any of those.
Okay. Any other questions? Good. Right, we invite the applicant to come forward at this time. Please remember to state your name and city of residence for the record, and then, okay, thanks, Cindy. You will have 15 minutes, and then afterward, we can ask you for clarification if needed.
Hey, I'm Merrill Van Leuven with Hoopstain Construction LLC. I've been asked by the homeowner to provide assistance in this restoration project. I currently reside, my business resides also in Santa Quin, Utah. So in regarding the scope of the project, as Dustin described, yes, we are rebuilding the deck to as close to the original form as we can possibly get. While the construction mock-up does not show all the mitering work and mill work that needs to be done, from the time that I submitted this application to currently, I did find some more information on what millwork looked like back in the late 1800s. And if necessary, we are capable of providing as close of a replica as that as we can on the pillars and balusters, etc. I do have with me on my iPad right here some of the construction drawings that were requested. If you'd like to see those, I can provide those as well.
Is that something that we can all see? Oh, sorry. You're right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Regarding the windows, there was a question on whether the windows would be replaced. That is something that the client would like to do. However, that is not in the current scope of the project. The current scope of the project is only to replace, restore, refinish the wood exterior. So anything that's exterior that has wood on it, so soffits, fascia, window panes, doors, etc., that is what the scope of the project entails. In regards to the severity of the restoration, we'll do our best to keep the original wood. There is some specific historic wood epoxy that we are planning on using to fill holes and provide some strength to the existing wood so that we do not have to replace that. In the event we do have to replace that, my research has suggested that pine or fir would be used because that's what was used back in the day. In regards to the construction of the deck itself, we are proposing to use modern techniques so that it's structurally sound. There will be a wastewater system built into the deck that will not be visible, just so that we can maintain the integrity of that structure. However, the exterior will look as close to the original as possible. We will also be using what's called a, forgetting the term, it's a dustless sandblasting technique, which strips away just the layer of paint on the wood. It's a very delicate process. I do have a worker who specializes in this technique. The intent is to just scrape away enough of the wood that we can then smooth it out and restore it and then repaint it. That technique is a pretty fast technique. It doesn't involve a lot of grinding or anything like that. It uses some soft substrates as well as some harder substrates for more difficult areas. So as we're doing that blasting technique, we will be eliminating mess. We'll be careful and mindful of the brick that's existing, as that is original brick. But then we'll also be able to use what resources we have to make sure that the windows are put back to what they need to look like. I believe that addresses the questions.
Awesome. Okay. Any questions from the commission for the applicant?
I've got, oh.
No,
did you-
I was pointing
Oh.
to you.
I've got a question about the railing.
Mhm.
Sandy, do you mind going back to the historic photograph of the house? Actually, the one that shows the current state of the house and I think, well, this works.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Um, one thing you'll notice with the railing in the historic photographs is actually proportioned to the house. That is the visually, aesthetically, the proportion it should be. As Dustin pointed out, the problem with that railing at that height is it doesn't meet code.
Correct.
The railing that is proposed, though, is too high visually. What the Secretary of the Interior standards recommend in this case is that you recreate the proportions of the original railing, but then put a thin metal bar. It could even be as simple as a plumber's pipe at the height that meets code. So when you look at the house, the railing is what stands out the most, but the thin metal bar recedes, yet prevents people from tumbling over the edge. I don't know if that's a approach that you would consider. Again, that is the recommended approach by the Secretary of the Interior for historic preservation.
We would be happy to accommodate that.
Great. I can send information to Dustin about, the Secretary of the Interior has published a whole pamphlet about how to approach railings in the case of historic houses just like this. So I'll forward that on and provide that information to you.
I would be interested in seeing the construction documents because I have a lot of questions about the difference between the rendering and the scale, the size, and the style of the railing, the balcony railing in the rendering versus the original photos. There seem to be some discrepancies, and
Sure.
I'm hoping that you've addressed those, given some more time.
Okay, so let me put a disclaimer out there before I show you the drawings. The software that I'm using, it has some limitations to it, so I could not add like the double pillars on the railings to it, nor could I add the specific millwork or the double posts. So
Okay.
with that in mind, the rendering is more of a guideline
Right.
for sizing and for the structural components, not necessarily the finished look.
Great. That's what I was hoping, was
Okay.
that this was kind of a rough working model.
Right.
But I really, in the report that, well, let's not get into that. Just how would we be able to see? Is there a way to show it to everybody?
No, it's just, they're just fan. It's woodwork. It's called gingerbread trim. Yeah. You can see that these are open. So it's like a fan with wood extending out from the center. Yeah, it's great.
Maybe while they're pulling that up, just maybe mention or ask, as far as that Secretary of the Interior and the railing goes, if the commission feels like we have enough detail in these images to try to recreate that, or if those standards direct us to maybe not try to recreate, since we don't have a physical copy to be able to go from. Kind of what your thoughts might be on that.
It does seem like in the historic photographs, there actually is a lot of information here. It looks like a regular balustrade with, a post and rail system. There are balls on top of but my main concern would be, that comment wasn't necessarily addressing the entire design. It was mainly the height. That's
Okay.
something that nobody gets right. But, it is stated in the standards that, to maintain the proportions of the railing, and yet to meet code, the simple system of a bar and, with a rail below it, the bar, of course, meeting code, but the railing, keeping the historic proportions of the house is how you resolve that problem.
Okay. Yeah, and I just wasn't sure with kind of what the applicant response was, if their plan was to try to go in and recreate.
Well, and I
or
guess
not.
to Florence's question, I guess that's what we're trying to see is the more detailed documents that show the level of detail that
Right.
will be added to the railing and the lower porch.
Yeah, in the report that we received, the staff report, item number 9 said that the location, size, and scale of the original structure would be followed, and it's not being followed. And the applicant has said that's a rough, limitations in the software. So I want to see what the intent is before I just say, you're not making, this isn't working. And so I understand also, we don't have to replicate it exactly, but size and scale needs to be followed. Another option that I want to talk to the applicant about is the idea that where the floor of the deck is, and could that be lowered so that the railings can sit on top and be the right height and be at that 36-inch code thing and drop the deck.
Oh, okay.
And so the front still stays the same, but the actual deck would be hidden behind that ornamentation and the fascia. And
So let me make sure I understand. So in the picture there, you have the regular deck height, but then drop the floor behind some of that so that it does meet the 36-inch threshold requirement.
yeah, I'm wondering if that's been considered, if that's a possibility. I know that doesn't meet what what David said, but
So you're suggesting to drop the whole railing?
no, you keep
Drop
you
the
keep the
floor.
railing at the same height, and instead of the floor being at the bottom of the railing, the floor
Oh.
is down and is hidden by the decorative elements.
Okay, we did not consider that mainly because of the water drainage system that we need to hide within the floor paneling and joists.
What
the
kind of
deck.
floor are you doing?
So we're gonna do the regular joist spacing with a rim joist in between, just to keep it from moving back and forth. But then there's gonna be a section for some irrigation drainage that will be hidden around the main outside wood pieces.
Okay.
So my worry is if we drop the floor down too far, that eliminates that drainage system.
Right, I understand.
So that's why we didn't consider that,
Okay,
just because we'll need the additional space for that.
okay. Thank you for explaining.
Were you able to pull up additional details or? Okay. Speaking of details, one suggestion I would make, if we go back to the previous slide. Well, actually the one showing the porch, the drawing of the porch. Sorry, Sandy. Is just to consider the Victorian era of the house and try to make the details align. For example, the door shown there is a door for a craftsman house.
Right.
And I don't know if they're salvage yards in Salt Lake. I don't know how far you want to go, but there can be some really inexpensive doors that are period appropriate that are actually from this period that could be used in a context like this.
We actually have the original door for that space.
Oh, do you? Oh, great.
Yeah, in the current picture of the home, you'll see a white panel that's in front of the door.
Uh-huh.
The door is directly behind that already.
Oh,
installed.
great.
So
So you
all we
don't have
have
to
to
worry
do
about
is
that.
remove that and you'll have the door.
Awesome. Makes us very happy.
Okay.
So are you intending to remove the current porch covering, that roof there?
So we are intending to remove as much that is not original as possible and then restore as much to its original as possible. So on the posts, you'll see that you can't really tell, but they just slapped some wooden slabs on there. And we think that there is something underneath that is either an original pillar of some kind. And if so, we are going to maintain those. What we intend to do is put additional footings for each of those posts to just support the deck better, because those were not done prior. And then if they are original posts, we'll put them back on those footings and then recreate from there.
Okay. I have a question about in the rendering that you've provided, and this might be answered in the other documents, but in the rendering, the posts at the bottom
Right.
look like they're equally spaced,
Mhm.
and the posts on the railing do not align with them. And if we look at the original, we can see that there's a small, looking at the front, there's a small and a large and a small. And can you tell me how you plan to address that?
Yeah, again, that's the limitations on the software that I
Okay.
used. It would not allow me to move the posts, nor would it allow me to move the posts on the railings either.
Okay.
Because the software that I used, I apologize, it was free. And it provided, the measurements that I need and the basic structure that I need, as you can see here, but it does not allow me to customize like distances of things. And so if we need to move those posts out, happy to do it as long as it meets the code for structure. And then again, for the railings, we can adjust those as well to meet the visual symmetry that you're asking for.
The bracing that comes in, that's something new. Has the structural engineer evaluated it without that diagonal bracing?
No, but I can have that re-rendered.
Okay. That, and the Simpson connectors. I mean, you can get Simpson connectors that don't need a bracing.
We
It's just
can
that
do that differently as
Okay.
well. Yeah.
Okay.
So that those are not visible because they're not visible in the original.
Okay, another question about this rendering is the way that and we can see it in the, thanks for bringing this one up. Let's go back to the original rendering, that one. It appears to me, and this again might be limitations on the software, and we get it. We just need to clarify.
Sure.
But it appears that the railing is outside, is standing proud of the wall,
Correct.
rather than as was built originally, the wall was proud of the railing. Can you talk to me about that?
So again, another limitation on the software. Typical wood railings do go on the outside in most cases. So when I input that I wanted a wood railing in the software, that's where it placed it. And I wasn't not able to move that.
Technology sometimes works.
I know,
For us.
sometimes.
Sometimes it works against us.
Had I put in a metal railing, it would have sat on top,
Okay.
like the original.
And what are you intending to do in this case?
I would put it on top. I'm trying to mimic exactly the original as close as possible. So all the millwork, all the settings, all the visual symmetry, everything, I'm trying to mimic 100% so that we can
Okay.
maintain the original look of the home as
And
much as
the
possible.
spindles, would they be a lathe kind of
Mhm.
spindle?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Could you describe a little bit more about the trim work, or maybe it's pictured in the report that Sandy was able to pull up? It seems like you suggested, maybe I misheard, that there would be additional trim work, but
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I did do some research on that. It might take me too long to find it,
that's fine.
but in my research in the 1800s, it's actually pretty extensive, the millwork that they use. A lot of little curves at different depths, a lot of indents. And with the document that and research that I now have, I can mimic that pretty close.
What we see there is what you'd aim to recreate, basically.
Yeah,
without
and the original photo is what I aim to recreate.
I just wonder what that would look like while keeping the posts square.
So the posts will not be square. In the
Okay, I'm
end. They'll
sorry,
be-
I
they'll be,
misunderstood.
They'll be
Okay.
turned
lathed and
also?
millworked. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks for that
Yeah,
clarification.
and we will have the two posts all the way as it shows in the original.
The gingerbread trim. Oh, sorry.
And then the railing up top would just be, would you try to recreate that kind of balustrade vase look, or?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great.
I don't know the term, but is it gingerbread trim? That's the lace work. Will that be included as well?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why you have the angled brackets on the
Yeah.
rendering, but it did not do a good job of,
So the brackets actually reference the kind of that gingerbread.
in a way.
Up the fan.
In
Or
a
they
way.
would they be hidden?
Sorry?
Would the brackets be hidden? Or are they mimicking the little brackets that are there below the trim?
So we're going to do our best to hide as much of the hardware as possible, because that's not how it looked like in the 1800s. And so any brackets that we use will hide them and either put some kind of fascia on top or some other material to make sure that's hidden, but then again, maintain the look as close as possible.
And then you're going to put the railing at the bottom along the porch?
Yes,
Okay.
our intent is to do that, again, so that it mirrors the photo.
Oh,
Are you gonna take out the cement thing that's in front of it on that, like, while you put it in? And what, in a current picture, there was a round
kind of a
cement.
tongue.
Yeah,
Yeah. Are you gonna pull out the cement? Like, how will you handle that?
the
Just
scope of
curious.
work does not include the cement work other than putting in footings.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some ways to handle that. So it, rather than, can we go back one slide? Or forwards? Yeah, whoa, that was it. You got it. Thanks for reading my mind. So that lower, the lower, the word escaped me, but the balustrade kind of,
The lower porch.
yeah,
Okay.
and the wood, if that only went between the two, in that large opening, then it would make sense that the one is for the entrance and the other opening is to make that a little deck. And I can't, it looks like it was closed off at one
It wasn't
time,
there, yeah.
but I feel like what we need to do here is to not necessarily be strict in where every post was, but get that feel of Victorian, like David was saying. And, Victorian is ornate, it has intricate detailing, and all this, and the spacing of the columns and everything. And it sounds like you're very aware of this. And my only concern at this point, I think you covered the windows really well. My only concern is the actual design for the porch, because I'm hearing that you're giving us what we're looking for.
Right.
But I need, I'm a visual person and I don't want to say, oh yeah, he said it. And then we end up with problems. So
Something else, yeah.
my suggestion is that we go ahead and approve the work on
We
the
can,
window.
this
This is still talking.
yeah, this technically still,
Okay.
yeah, the applicant's time for questions and clarification, and then and in terms of action, that'll be the last.
Okay,
phase.
then I'm done asking.
I've got one more question.
Yes, sir.
It seems like there's a little side porch, I assume, covering a
the
separate
awning?
entrance. Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing, that will, I assume will be removed.
That will be removed.
Okay.
There are family members that have researched this pottery a lot. Have you contacted those people?
The only person I've contacted regarding this structure is the homeowner, my client. So I know there are people out there who are related to the original owners of this home, but I have not made contact with them.
I have not had contact for a long time, but they've been friends. Kurt Henderson is an artist, and his brother taught at BYU.
Oh.
One of the things I looked up referenced an article that they wrote about Provo pottery that was published in the Utah Historical Quarterly.
Okay.
I think one interesting thing, just kind of piggybacking off that, oftentimes in, what is it, Family Search or genealogy.com or whatever, they oftentimes have pictures of family homes. People, they have a memory section and you can pull up. So that might provide additional photographs with additional details of the front of the house.
I do know that my client has reached out and done a lot of research on her own prior to contacting me about this project.
Great.
And her efforts were not as fruitful as she wanted in that regard.
I do have one more question on
Yes.
the existing home, over on the left side wall.
Mhm.
It appears that there might be a conduit that wraps around and comes up. Is that what that is?
That is a conduit, yes.
And metal conduit, or
Uh-huh.
and is that to remain?
That is not in my scope of.
You're not
my
doing
project. I'm
electrical,
not
you're doing
touching that. Yeah.
Carpentry?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, clarification? Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. This is normally where we would open for public comment. Is there public comment that needs to be addressed?
Hello, my name is Rachel Breen. I'm Provo resident and I also work for the council office and I facilitate the neighborhood district program. Landmarks items do not go to neighborhood meetings, so this has not been presented in a neighborhood meeting, but I did forward the information in the staff report to the two representatives that represent the Franklin neighborhood on the Central District Board. And they replied with one word, cool. So they are in support and they're excited to see the updates to this historic home in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's the kind of, well, we appreciate all public input. We'll leave it there. Okay. At this point then, the commission can discuss and deliberate and talk about potential action.
Dustin, can you remind us of our options?
And probably what staff's recommended.
Yeah, so you can approve, continue, or deny the certificate of appropriateness. So the staff report lists those options on that first page.
And do we make the decision or does it go beyond us?
Yeah, it's just Landmarks decision. Yep.
And what is your recommendation?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to, be able to repair a lot of that woodwork that's around there. I think the property owner's very, in the conversations I've had with her, she's very focused on keeping it as close as she possibly can to the historic character and everything that's there as much as possible. So I really appreciate that, and that's always a sigh of relief to have that be the case. And I think the discussion on the porch is, well, I've had a lot of good ideas come up today, so I think those are things to weigh in on, and in whatever motion you guys end up making, if there's specific things that we want to make sure are included in that, if we can go through and list those, that would be helpful for staff to get those. So.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to just go down the table or?
Well, I know Florence had some thoughts that we kind of cut her off from
Oh,
making earlier, so. I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
we'd
still
start there.
getting used to the protocol. Thanks for keeping me in line here. I just think that the overall plan is great. My only concern is that the porch detailing, as the representative has explained to us, does not match the drawings. And I would like some more precise, more accurate drawings of the porch area. I am really fine with the windows. I'd like to know what the other members of the commission are thinking.
As I've been listening, I hear proportion, spindle work, there's another, and placement against the building where it's placed, the porch is placed, as being the emphasis of the concerns, and wanting to be replicated. Is that correct? So if we could put that into language to make sure, and the builder has agreed that that is his intention. So if we put it into language, maybe that would, official language, be the move.
Worth considering, I think. So this seems like there's two options, right? We can try and describe what it is we're after, or another option would be we continue this to next month or the month after, however long it would take to gather the accurate rendering or even elevation drawings that show the detail more accurately to the original.
Yeah, I am worried that even though I would like to speed the process along, I think there's a lot of work to be done on the windows, and that the client would not be held back by us delaying the porch. I just want to see it just because people's words mean different things.
Eric and Florence, I just wonder if you have any suggestions for the applicant, ways they could create renderings that are a bit more detailed without incurring exorbitant costs. Because it seems like that's the problem, is that he doesn't want to, it's sign up for a hugely
Yeah.
expensive program, but maybe there's something out there that you could suggest.
Yeah, let me kind of put on the collaboration hat here. I'm wearing my architect hat, and I've worked with contractors who don't work with drawings because they don't need them. But you're going to need to give drawings to the city, right? Would the city, would the construction documents be enough? Yeah.
Please.
Would they be detailed enough to convey what you're thinking?
So my intention, when I permit this, is to have accurate drawings of everything that we're doing with the deck and the railing, the posts, the millwork, everything. If we need to give that shared to you, I'm happy to do that as well. Just whatever makes you feel most comfortable about the project. I'm willing to make that effort to make sure that you know exactly what we're doing and how we're going to do it. So
What
if I
is
need
your,
to invest a little bit more in some better software, I'm also open to that idea as well.
Well, yeah, and there, if you write it down, I mean, even if you have pictures and say, you know, have a drawing of the new elevation and then have a picture, like a PDF on the sheet that says, these will look like this and they'll be spaced like this. You know, it doesn't have to, in my mind, it's a communication tool and not necessarily a professional rendering that I'm asking for, but clear communication, visual communication.
do you have a timeline for when you plan to submit for a building permit, or are you waiting for this, for us to make our
I'm waiting
determination
for
for
the
that?
decision here, and as soon as that decision's made, that'll determine when I submit the permit. So if, for example, if it's approved today, I plan to submit for a permit by the end of this week. If it's pushed out, then I'll adjust my time frame accordingly.
Well, I think what we're thinking is it can be, we'll approve it if we can have it like in writing, basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but that it's every single detail. Like it's, this railing is going to look like this. It's going to be this far apart. So I don't know what you think about that. I know we feel like we want to let them move forward, but I think this railing is such an important part of that house that it's really important that it's done.
I'd be supportive of tabling this until more visuals are provided.
Dustin, is it possible to move forward with the windows and allow them to do that? Or is this all in one package?
So when you say
The
windows,
options you gave us were accept, deny, or table. Can we accept part and table part, or is that too messy?
yeah, I think we could do that. And to clarify, when you say windows, you're talking about the woodwork and not.
Thank you.
Because I think.
Yes,
plan to
you're
come
right.
Back in the future at some point
Yeah,
on the glazing.
right. Windows was not the right term. The window frames, the woodwork and the trim around the windows.
Yeah, I think we could entertain something like that where we approve that work and then just hold off on approving the deck and the porch railings until they come back with more clear drawings or illustrations showing that we would then feel comfortable approving the rest of it at that point. So
would that help at all, or would that not? What I'm trying to do is to support this effort because I think it's a beautiful idea and I think it's where we want to go. I don't want to, we're not here to discourage this kind of work. We're here to support this kind of work.
If it were possible to split the woodwork for the windows and soffits and fascia,
Yeah.
and if we were able to move forward on that now, I know my client would be thrilled for that. And if we need more work done on the porch and railings, I think that would be satisfactory. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a great solution.
All right, so do we have enough of a consensus to entertain a motion?
Wendy said yes.
Okay, yeah,
Wendy, you want to?
it's a group effort. David, do you want to?
Oh, I'm kind of the
Wanna go
motion
over it?
guy. Okay, do you want me to do it, or I do not want to steal anyone else's thunder. I
No.
can't say my
We're-
favorite moment of the month,
we're
but
a
I'm happy to
team.
do it.
We're a team.
So we propose that we divide this project. The windows be approved during this meeting. The window frames be approved during this meeting, and the porch be deferred or tabled until we can get more visuals to describe what exactly that effort will entail. Does that pass muster, Dustin?
I would also just stipulate, and maybe we're, just so we're on the same page, that doesn't necessarily mean photoreal renderings, but just
Yeah.
more detailed drawings, even elevation views and.
Sandy, do I need to restate that, or does that amendment that Eric offered suffice? Okay, great.
I, and I'd like to clarify on the, what Eric said about the renderings. If you were to give us if you had the same software and just made the notes on a hard copy that said spindles will look like this will, the things that we talked about. I'm not looking for necessarily a construction document that shows it, but a communication document.
Is this one vote or two votes?
Was David made the motion. I haven't heard anyone second. the
Yep.
motion.
I second.
Great. Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Is this one vote or two votes? Is everyone saying, we'll do ahead with the
Oh,
windows
sorry.
and then do we do the,
Well, I think it's
So it
all
was a
part of the
single
same
motion,
thing.
right?
I think it was
So we
a
don't
single
need to
motion,
divide the
sir.
So do we
votes.
need to, should we call again for it?
that was just a question.
I think we're okay.
So then I need to restate exactly. Okay, so the motion was that certificate of appropriateness for the window frames and other woodwork, and then the portion of the new deck with its supports and as continued to next month or a future hearing. Thank you. With more detail, either in drawing or rendering.
Do I say my name?
Can I go first? Wendy Allman, yes.
David Ammett, yes.
Eric Carter, yes.
Jesse Amber, yes.
Susan Kruger Barber, aye.
Florence Hawkinson, yes.
Okay, so the motion passes unanimously as stipulated. And then we can now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.